All right, you're asking for it, so here it is.
Epicast.
Listen to this.
I want you fucks laughing at we partners pod, kid. You understand? We in here drinking, singing, singing, all that shit, dog. We sweating, getting wet, and all that.
All right, welcome to Fresh with the multiple angles. DigiFest. Yo, Fresh Fest DigiFest 2020. We are now live. We worked through it. We worked hard. We are here to bring you that entertainment. We are here to ensure that beer gets distributed. We are here to continue the conversation and cultivate the culture. I am half of your hosting tandem, Ed Bailey. I am joined as always with my co-host, Dave Bracey. Say what up to the people.
Man, what's good with you people? We are the Drinking Partners, and if you're looking for us, you can find us worldwide at epicastnetwork.com/partnerspod. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, Google Play, and Spotify under Drinking Partners. You can find us on IG, Twitter, and Facebook at PartnersPod. Man, 200 plus episodes, man. 6 years we've been asking y'all, and we will continue to ask you, man. After 3 fests, third fest out here. Yeah, I mean, third fest. We gonna keep asking you. Please hop on iTunes, hop on Facebook, rate and review. That's how we know we're doing well. That's how we let others know that we're doing well, and that's how we continue to do well, man. So please hop on iTunes, hop on Facebook, rate and review.
Listen, you love us. You see us out in public in the past. You haven't seen us in a while, but you will soon. You see us today. And listen, you always see us out in public and tell us you love us, but we really need you to go to the internet, click a button and tell people how you really feel, all right? We need those ratings and reviews. We need to know what you love, what you didn't like, who you'd like to see, what you'd like us to do, all of that, man. We're trying to continue to push the culture forward, as you can see with this digital festival. We're trying to continue to, adapt to the new times, and we need your feedback, all right? Mm-hmm. And as always, we've said this every episode. Mm-hmm. I'm going to continue to say it. It's never going to change. It's in my blood. In lieu of rates and reviews, we do accept shots of Hennessy. I still take that, all right? We've had from the festival, people bring us white Henny. Any type of Hennessy you can find, bring it to me, man. We'll take a shot. Send me a Hennessy in the mail. I'll give you my address for that. A P.O. box or something. We could do that, man.
We take all forms of alcohol outside of Corona, man. We do not accept any Corona. This festival is Corona free, both in the beer and the pandemic. So, man, this is super dope.
This is crazy dope. And we said worldwide. We said it on there. We've been tagging it, but this podcast is actually, I guess it's emblematic of that, right? Because
putting the money where the mouth is.
Put the money where the mouth is, because if you look on your screen, you see this big buff gentleman with no sleeves in the freshest shirt, and that shipping for that shirt was expensive. Because joining us on the podcast, we got Stacey IA from Rock Leopard Brewing in the UK in the building. Say what up to the people.
Hey.
Great Britain.
How's everybody doing?
We're doing great, man. We appreciate you coming through. We appreciate your patience, man. This is an honor. This is great, man. We love to see you here.
Nah, the honor is all mine. Thank you very much for inviting me. Fantastic.
I'm glad your audio is working. You sounded nice out there, man. I just want to let the people know, man. Those guns are registered, so don't go calling the Pinkertons. What are those dudes with the funny hats? The beef eaters.
Yeah, yes.
I feel like I gotta pause that. I don't know what a beef eater is.
You gotta send the beef eaters after the beefcake. Yeah, I mean, like. So, hey, Stacey. So for the folks that don't know, I guess tell us a little bit about yourself, and how you got into brewing.
Well, it's quite a long story, but I'll try and keep it short. It kind of started probably about 18 years ago, selling other people's brands. I brought there's a cider called Kopparberg. I brought Kopparberg cider to the UK and sold that for about 5 years. And then there is a Swedish craft beer brewery called Nils Oskar that I was also sold that for about 6 years. And then I worked at a couple of breweries in London. Okay. But all the while, I was very successfully selling other people's products. it never occurred to me that, I could or should think about doing it myself, because whenever I made it, it's success. Like with Copperberg, it went from zero to me literally beating the streets, and about 2 years, got it right up to close to £1 million in sales. And when they saw that, they thought, oh, thank you very much. See you later. Because when I started, they said, oh, our word is our bond. We don't need a contract.
Yeah. Oh, they hit you with the drug dealer talk. Yeah. Our word is our bond. You weren't brewing at the time?
Yeah.
You just playing middleman.
You weren't home brewing at the time or anything?
I just bear with me a second. What was your question?
No, I mean, while you were selling for Copperberg and I forget the second, yes. Were you home brewing at this time? Like, were you?
No. I hadn't. I was just drinking beer at the time.
Okay.
But about 5 years ago, when the idea was like, if I really want to do this, I need to do it myself. Is when I got a friend of mine. I borrowed a friend of mine's SS Brewtech half barrel kit, slung it in my garage, and just proceeded to make every possible bad beer you could possibly make. Just trying to learn.
Did he ever get the kit back? Is the kit still in your garage?
No. Yes, he has got it back. Yes, he's got it back, and he got a few bottles as compensation as well. Oh. I'm joking. I'm actually doing a collaboration with him, but it's actually going to be a non-alcoholic beer.
Oh,
he's been going on and on about non-alcoholic beer for like years and years and years. Nobody would listen to him, and now everybody's sort of got into it, and it's taking off.
Yeah, there's the wave. The non-alcoholic wave is crazy.
Yes. So it was 5 years ago. And then of course I don't have my own facility, and I haven't won the lottery yet. So And of course, I also then didn't know that you could do such a thing as sort of gypsy brewing or contract brewing as a way to sort of try and establish yourself. So I sort of, the first batch was kind of okay. The second batch was very good. And I proceeded to sort of send out, samples to everybody. And I thought, this beer is good. People love drinking craft beer. I've made a craft beer. Let's make it happen. But oh no.
It's not so making a good product isn't enough. No, I found out the hard way. Because a lot of the folks, like whenever we talk about Fresh Fest and we talk about, like bigging up black brewers and like, putting them out there, whatever, they go, well, if, craft beer doesn't have a color, and if you just make good product, then, people will just drink it. Yeah, so you're here to tell us that, just because you make a good product, it doesn't mean that,
It certainly does not. I mean, I think I remember seeing Chris Rock did a show where, he talked about, he lived in a very expensive house, but, and he worked very, very hard to get to that house. But, the guy next door was just a regular dentist.
Yeah, white mediocrity.
So, let me tell you something. I would go to a bottle shop and say, can you try my beer? No, it's not good enough, So I peeled off the label of another, brewery that I knew they were selling the product. And I stuck my label on that can. And I went back and gave it to them. They tasted it. And guess what they said?
Nah.
No.
They didn't like it.
Yeah, I mean it's like when so I dropped my first name because I got a kind of black sounding first name. I started using my middle name on applications, and I started getting phone calls just because I changed my first name. You know what I mean? Like off the dip, and it's wild how that bias is there. It's not the product. The resume was the same, but my phone calls went up 3,000%. So that's wild, and that's a wild experiment, man. To see that and be like, did you do the reveal right there? Like, did you pull the label off? Like, haha, I got you, bitch.
Or did you put that label on top of your label? Like, check this out.
Do you know what? Still to this day, I haven't told them, and I'm probably not going to.
Well, I mean, fuck them. You don't even want the product, then. You know what I
mean? Yeah. It's but you know what? All the while, you know, when actual customers tasted the product, they loved it. They'll put reviews up online and stuff. You know, the customers actually loved it. But here in the UK, there's no such thing as selling direct to the consumer.
Okay.
As you know, a lot of you guys have. You kind of, you go to a bottle shop, or you go to a bar, or you go to a distributor, and then, you know, if I call them the gatekeepers, and you know, if you're lucky enough to get a listing, then customers, because, you know, it doesn't matter how great your beer is, if customers can't get hold of it, then
right,
you've got a problem in hand. So, you know, and if the gatekeepers, as I call them, aren't readily wanting to champion you, then you've got a problem too. So, like the other day, I was looking on Untapped and realized that it took me nearly 2.5 years, literally nearly 2.5 years, to get 350 reviews. And within a space of 3 months of getting some help from our great friends at Cloudwater, Paul Jones, is now up to 2,500.
Oh,
okay.
The platform, you know?
Triple,
the same product, the same beer, nothing's changed. Just being given access to a platform to be able to get the product out to consumers.
So talk about that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, because I was talking to Paul, and he was saying how, like, you know, like he was like, yo, this dude is making beer out of his mind. It's like crazy good. And, you know, he was saying how he was telling me how you were having problems, you know, like you said, getting listed and things of that nature. You know what I mean? So, like, talk about that, you know, that, you know, I guess that relationship and, you know, how that developed and, you know, how that, you know what I mean, how important that was, you know, to your growth.
It's been unbelievable. It's been phenomenal. I mean, I still can't believe it actually happened, but it happened because when I first started thinking about seriously doing this, I thought, you know, I need to go to, you know, the best people who are at the top of their game doing this. And so, you know, I just was, you know, stalking everybody, you know, at the top of their game in the UK, you know, sending emails, sending samples, you know, if they were on Twitter, following them, on Facebook, following them. And I kept sending, you know, samples to Paul, and he just wasn't getting them. And one day about, I think 2 years ago, or just over 2 years ago, I found out that he was doing a talk in a bar about, I don't know, 10 miles from my house. So I just went straight there with my can and cornered him outside the toilets and said, you know, here's my beer, you know, can you give it a taste and let me know what you think. And I really would love to know what you think. Because he had made a beer, Carlos had made a beer where they use Mandarina Bavarian. And so I put some in my beer as well. You know, and I wanted to, you know, just give me some feedback, you know, which is what I've been asking everybody else, you know. And he got tracked and didn't actually manage to taste it or take it with him. But then I kind of chased up, and then about 6 months after that, I kind of started sort of being more sort of open on Twitter and about, you know, my experiences and everything I'm going through. And then he called on to an exchange that I was having with somebody. And then I think he was at a barbecue with some other friends of his. And then they just remembered that he had a sample that I'd sent. So they cracked it open. And then he was like, oh, wow. This beer is actually very good. So,
This wasn't a one-time thing.
so then he got in touch with me, and then we started talking, and I started to step, like, you know, I was trying to say to him, like, you know, you haven't got a clue what the real world is as far as I see it, you know, in terms of what happens when you're not, you know, one of
when you're not a white dude. You know what I mean? Like, it's a different world for us out here.
So
yeah, it's a different world, and then I was telling him some things like that I'm going through, and then his eyes were just starting to open, and and it's like once you are told, like, let me tell you something, like I went to another bottle shop, and I said to him, like, I've made this beer, taste it, like, you've got like 400-500 different bottles and cans in your shop, but not one of them is made by a black person. And they said, oh no, yeah, we sell Omnipolo, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, like Omnipolo transcends, he transcends, race. And that's like saying, I watching Denzel Washington or watching Will Smith, that, oh yeah, I like black actors or something like these guys, Omnipolo transcends, and so you can't say to me that I'm standing right here, and I'm in London, I'm standing right in front of you, make that two beers that you sell out of the 400-500 that's made by a black person, so that's I got sidetracked there. So Paul was starting to sort of see, like, all these sort of things, and okay, and the reason why I was saying I brought this up is because you may not know, you may not realize that, I didn't realize, when I buy beer, I don't look at, who made it, color, and it's fine if you're in a privileged position, but after you've been told that fact, then how can you ignore it? Like, you need to try and do something about it.
That's the space we're in. That's the time we're in now. Like, we're putting that information out. Like, all right, there's no plausible deniability anymore. There's no, I wasn't aware. Like, it's like, all right, people are more intentional about, identifying the source. And that's why craft, in my experience here, has been so successful. Like, you can really trace the source of the actual ingredients. You can touch the owner. You can speak directly to the brewer. You know what I mean? Like, people like that now. I'm very interested. So you found an ally of sorts in Paul. And but what sort of challenges do you see for individuals out in the UK in your position trying to start, may not have a brick and mortar? What sort of challenges are in place if they don't have an ally? If you don't have someone to signal, someone who's cracking your stuff at the cookout or drinking it outside the toilet.
Certainly where we're at now is that, certainly with the lockdown, obviously packaged beer is the only way that, you're going to survive.
You got a can.
And so you're going to need, somebody that has the right equipment, that can do justice to the end product. So the key would be finding a facility that, have, the right equipment and, actually do care about, what they're doing. And so, for me, there's a place called the Missing Link in a place in England called East Sussex, and they're fantastic. And that's where I go to make my beers. And they've got, fantastic equipment. And there's about 4 other guys doing a similar thing that I'm doing.
Missing Link, is that a brewery out there, or is that just a facility that they allow folks to come and use their system?
I'm sorry, the sound is quite...
No, I'm saying Missing Link. Is that a brewery out there, or are they just allowing you to? Okay.
Yes, it is. It is a brewery, and then they also are fantastic and gracious enough to allow. As I said, there's only 5 of us. There's not that are there that take turns to sort of use the kit. So yeah.
Oh, so I mean, I know a lot of times with startups, finding resources are difficult. So the craft community here, we've seen in Pittsburgh specifically, we've seen large collaborative efforts, people kind of understanding like, hey, if I can help you up, you can improve the industry. That doesn't take away from my bottom line. That actually adds to. How is it out there?
It does. Well, this is the thing that people don't seem to understand, that, you're actually going to be increasing the money that you're making because you'll be bringing new people in, and this industry, this bubble that we're in. I mean, you guys in the States think you're in this, you're bubble is small, but in the UK is tiny, and I mean we need to find more people to join this industry, and we need to find them to join fast, because every time that we're dicking around and procrastinating and saying, no, you can't join our club, or AB InBev and Heineken and Carlsberg, they're out there,
Yeah, they moving.
Selling
they
selling
ain't no interruption in they shit.
So we need to expand this industry fast. This ecosystem needs to be expanded, fast and shored up to make sure that it is robust and and has longevity.
Right.
Because as I said, there are people out there that will take over.
But see, you have a unique entry point where you weren't. So a lot of the people we meet, they were brewing and home brewing. They're like, all right, I might be good enough to start something. You were actually on the end of where I could get this product sold. I can get it, in the bars, into distributors. I can get it there. I just need an opportunity. And one thing we talk about a lot with the festival is, we as African Americans and minorities, like we need to know and understand the nuance within the industry. So you have a different experience within the industry on the sales side. It's not just consuming beer and selling beer. Like there's a lot going on. Like they always uses the example of having an acquaintance who's an accountant specifically, for breweries. Like there are these opportunities that we just aren't aware of. And we need folks like yourself to be like, look, you could do this. Like shit, we selling stuff all the time. Every time a cop pulled me over, I'm selling not to shoot me.
True. And I think it's wild that you were able to sell, 1 million pounds and then you couldn't even sell your own product. I mean, like that says quite a bit about it. But before we even get further into the conversation, what is you drinking over there, man? Because it looks delicious.
My throat was drying because I've got a homebrew chunk of change.
Chunk of change, yeah. So what? Session IPA, yeah.
Yeah, it's a session IPA.
So what's the hops? What's the hops looking like in that?
I've got Cascade, Equina, and Simcoe in here.
Nice. Sounds citrusy.
Yes, and because it's just 4.2, I've upped the bitterness. It's a West Coast IPA, so I've upped the bitterness to 55 IBUs, and so just to give it a fighting chance, even though it's a low ABV. I mean, I love all kinds of beer, but I really love West Coast, and I think that there's a tendency for people to be scared of putting up in their bitterness game. I'm not talking about just crazy, but just enough to kind of make you know that yes, you're drinking beer.
Yeah, I mean, so has the Haze craze taken over England? I mean, like, what's the trends over there, right? Because I know, like, over here we had, at least in our short time of drinking, we had the West Coast, IPA was all crazy. We had black IPAs. There was the barrel is life, movements. We got the Haze craze.
That's your movement.
Now everybody's getting low ABV and whatnot. So what's did the Haze take over England? Like where y'all at now?
It's all about the Haze. It's all about the Haze, and it's all about the juice. It's called here, and it's when I see reviews of my West Coast beers, people say it's nice, but it's not as juicy as I would like it, and it's supposed to be a West Coast IPA. It's not. So you could call something a West Coast IPA, but so long as you're using the New England yeast, and you throw it in 25% oats in your malt bill, and so you can call it whatever you want, so long as it's haze. And if it's not hazy, then that's it. You don't. But people have people are starting to brew West Coast again.
Yeah.
But if you make a hazy beer around 7.5, 8, 9%, boom, it sells itself.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah.
I
No
like
questions
the 8s
asked.
and 9s.
The the beer doesn't even have to be ready, or
because if you're drinking a 9, you drunk. You don't know what the hell you drink.
Yo, man, they even have that hop burn is real, man. Like them young ass IPAs with the hop burn is harsh. Like, and like you got to let that shit sit for a while. Like I'll get a can, I'll drink that and be like, you know what, I'm gonna let that 6-pack, let that the rest of those 3 sit for a couple of weeks. You know what I mean? Like, cause they just want to get it out, you know, and it's the industry or whatever. What is your favorite brew to drink and brew?
I think what's my favorite?
What's your favorite beer to drink, and what's your favorite beer to brew?
Right. I think currently my favorite beer is the last beer that I made.
Which was
for me. But I whenever I can get my hands on any of the hazy stuff that's out, I like to try all different kinds of beers, just if anything at all, just to learn and see what people are doing. But I think there's a brewery in Canada called the Flying Monkeys. I don't know if you come across them before. The Flying Monkey.
I don't know if I came across Flying Monkey yet.
Yeah, and that's how I got into West Coast. I tasted. I was over there about eight or 9 years ago, and I tasted some of the West Coast IPAs, and I was just like, that's what turned me on to sort of a bitter beer, as it were. But for literally, like, if the beer is not oxidized, and I'll taste it and try and see what has been done with it and learn from it. So, but at the moment, like, I'm so kind of driven to try and achieve something that I don't have time to kind of look for other beers at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But what I like to drink at the moment is, obviously there's a lockdown as well. It's just beers that I've made, basically.
Yeah. I'd like to drink my own. I'm in house with it. So look, but you seem to be plugged in with like you read your reviews, right? Like I'm interested as a brewer, because I know me, like as a comedian, if I put a video up and people are reviewing the video, I'm not gonna take much from it. Like you can't really change my jokes and delivery. But how do you, like, if you read a review, for example, you were saying with your IPAs and saying we want them to be more juicy. Like, do you take that input and maybe adjust the recipe, or you just like you send them an email from a burner account like fuck you?
No. No, the customer is always right within reason. They only right up until how much I think. If somebody paid $5 or £5 for your beer, then so long as they're not going £25 worth of unhappiness, or as long as they keep it within reason, then it's okay. I'll take any and all criticism on board and learn from it. So yes, I read them and I take on board. You can obviously see some that I think I could legitimately say this is not fair, but it's okay. It is what it is. But you can then also pick up ones that are true and that are real. Like I made a beer that people kept saying it kind of tastes like lager, and I couldn't quite figure out why they were saying that. And then it dawned on me that it's because we used the wrong yeast. We used the lager yeast instead of the SO5 that should have used. So, but you pick up on this as well, and when you don't have your own facility and you're literally in the place for 6-7 hours, get things done, and then that's it.
So how do you measure, like, whether or not you're getting better? Like, obviously, you're always evolving, you're always looking to improve, but then how do you measure that? Is it just the review saying the beer's good, or is it like something that you see from a technical side?
The review, looking at the technical side as well, getting the testing right and seeing, whether, if you're packaging the beer, seeing that, you get as very little oxygen as possible is gone in the packaging to give the beer a chance. It's it's sending it to people that, whose opinions you value to give feedback. And also deep down, when you look at yourself in the mirror and you taste it, I think if this is, something that you would pay for, or if it's okay, but it's a 70% or it's an 80%, or it's never going to be 100%.
You like Heisenberg over there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So the family functions, have they just become like large taste tests? Like you coming with all the new styles. You're like, all right, Ma, what you making tonight? Because I'm trying to get this stout off. So I need you to make some steaks.
Yeah. I've been kind of looking at imperial stouts, and it's just like that research is going to take a while, because it's like you just want to spend like an hour and a half, to just really kind of enjoying it. And then you kind of forget what it was that you were doing. You just kind of just sit here and just enjoy it.
I've never thought. So how difficult is it to stay? So as a consumer, right? I drink beer or whatever. So even with the podcast, there's a professionalism to it and doing it. But ultimately, like I'm sitting here drinking, talking to people, drinking and talking shit is what I do. Now you though, I mean, you enjoy beer. You're around beer all the time. You're making the beer. You have to sell the beer. Like, how difficult is it to stay focused and continue to identify places where you can evolve, where you can, improve, not get caught up in, look, I just make beer and people drink my shit, so I'm cool. Get complacent, I guess.
I've got a young family. I've got a 10-year-old and a 14-year-old, and they will tell
that 14-year-old should be helping. That 14-year-old need to be working.
They're not impressed with anything I do, so that keeps me very grounded and focused to try and impress them. So it's but it's taken me so long to try and do this, and so I'm driven. I want to do much more than I'm currently able to do. So the drive is there. Like I have to make this happen, and I have to try and get. And listen. Let's not kid ourselves. I'm not getting any younger either, and I'm pushing. I'm going to be.
You got to look at how can I retire? Yeah, I feel you.
Well, yes, for sure. But I also would love to, get more people to believe, more Black people to believe that this can be done, and so that's what I'm about. That's what's motivating me and pushing me forward to make this happen.
So is there, I mean, like in the Black community, like, your friends, family, folks around the area or whatever, are they seeing what you're doing? Are they like, is there some kind of movement going on over on the other side of the pond for folks? 'Cause I know over here in America that we've been talking about it for a couple of years now, for a few years, about this movement and how, like, it is a $119 billion industry. And we have less than 1%, ownership in. So it's like, we're starting to see folks kind of like pick up and being like, what's over there? I mean, like, how's the temperament over in England? Are folks starting to come around, or are you just kind of on a lonely boat?
Well, it was for a little while. There's a guy, a couple have just started up now. They're called Echo Brewery. Okay. And I've been encouraging them, saying, you've got to, shout, because if you don't shout, trust me, nobody's going to shout for you. You got to shout, and get in these people's faces. It's a shame them to take your beer, because trust me, making a beer or making a good beer is not enough. And they're starting to kind of get more confidence and get out there. And obviously, it doesn't help that we've got the unfortunate virus sort of doing this thing. But I said, you still, people are still drinking beer, people are still buying beer. You've got to make your voice heard, because otherwise, the powers that be are more than happy for things to stay as they are. So something that I'm not happy with, and something that you shouldn't be happy with. So and it's there's noises, murmurings coming round. But it is, to be honest, spaces have not been sort of welcoming, not just outright because you're not welcome here. It's just that nothing has been done which you'd be into, and if folks can't really see, a lot of breweries are in inner city areas, often near sort of I'll call them estate council estates over here, and they would literally just, literally bus their friends in and come and enjoy the refreshments, and then out they go again. They won't engage with anybody, that actually lives in the neighborhood. And I guess because they don't have
that's happening here too.
But things have to change. It's like, you're missing out. Like, you could be making much more money, if somebody that lived just across the road.
Yes.
Why are you relying on somebody, that's traveling, an hour and a half to get to you? And the people that live right, and trust me, they're buying beer, they're buying Guinness,
Right.
They're buying Hennessy, they're spending
Buying
money.
Hennessy in the
Right?
UK,
They are spending
told
money.
you. We out here.
So I mean, you mean talk about the importance, because you were saying how you were making a fuss on Twitter, and then you caught the attention of Paul and whatnot, and I've noticed that a lot of folks, I don't think folks understand the power of social media and these other
level.
streams that we have available to us. So I mean, I guess talk more about the importance of branding and utilizing some of the media, the free that we have, in order to push your product.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic leveler, because it doesn't matter whether you spend, I don't know, Coca-Cola spends $1 billion a year on advertising, or you can send out one tweet, and if it hits the right,
Should catch fire.
if it catches the right thing, then you could do something. But certainly, for me, when there were, prior to me becoming very, very active, there was a lot of sort of hypocrisy, people saying, yes, we're doing this, aren't we great, as in, can't be a care, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then it's like, well, hang on a minute. I know you can see me, so, tone it down a bit,
Yeah.
and then we won't have to say anything. So it's fantastic to kind of, show. And as I said, if you're not out there shouting, nobody cares, and it's only after you show that you are passionate. You just have to not, but just make sure that if somebody is being hypocritical, then you call them out, because we can't go back to the normal as it was. We need to move forward. And I'm saying that now that I've made it very clear that there needs to be beer sold in the marketplace that's made by ethnic minorities. Right. That we can't put that genie back in the box. It's like, it's out there, and it needs to happen. It has to happen with or without you.
Get down or lay down.
Yeah. And one thing that's happening.
Move out the way,
Yeah.
So one thing that's happening here, and I'm interested to hear about how that works in the UK. So here, you can recognize that they've heard our voices. They know we're here. They know that we can affect the bottom line and improve. And they feed off of our culture often, right? So you're starting to see Biggie lyrics on cans. You're starting to see more urban kind of imagery on cans and whatnot. In the UK, are you seeing a sort of similar movement where maybe they're trying to, poach on the culture a little bit, and our hope is that, hey, don't exploit, allow access, basically? Yeah.
This is, again, the power of social media and being able to call people out when they do that and think they can get away with it. So, there's a lot of folks out here now that will jump on you straight away if you try that shit. There aren't that many that are still trying to kind of capitalize on the culture, as it were, because the social media makes it impossible for you to get away with it. Certainly here in the UK. But it's like just because you're playing hip hop in your tap room, or you have somebody that is working in your packaging department, or you have a security guard who's black, but you have nobody, and you've got 6 salespeople, 10 marketing people, and where the job really counts, as it were. you don't see any.
Well, profiting from the actual business. So as the business grows, being in a position where as the business grows, so does my, my base, my capital base. So does my value. You know what I'm saying? That's where we need to be. It's how do they? So I don't know if this is a dumb question, right? But here, with the breweries, I think the brewery experience is a huge part of what drives the industry here, right? You can go there. There's a certain group of individuals that you see there, a certain, echelon, a certain type of conversation you can have. How do y'all drink out in UK? Are y'all drinking at the crib? Are y'all going to tap rooms off? I mean, not now, obviously during COVID, but pre-COVID, February.
Not now, but
February. Like, how do you go enjoy a beer? Like, is it just in a local bar? Is it the brewery? Like, how was y'all handling it?
Yeah, no, there's literally, it became quite obvious. Maybe I'd say 4 years ago, 3 years ago, that if you didn't have a tap room, then you weren't really going to sort of survive, as it were, because you needed to have some level of income coming from the direct to consumer, and all and so most breweries have their own sort of tap room. But then there's a lot of sort of craft beer bars as well, and you're not going to see that many folks there when you go. but it's not like everybody's going to stop what they're doing and turn around and look at you. No, that's not going to happen. But it just would be nice to kind of see more people that look like you there. And one way to make that happen is if people's started to realize that, black people can make beer and can make good beer, and it's being sold in, near where I live. I'm going to go there and check it out. And you need to give people a reason to come to your establishment, other than just hey, we've got hazy beer. It's like, you need to do something more.
Nice. So what is your favorite form of potato?
How did you just sneak that in randomly?
Getting better.
my favorite form of potato. What, in terms of what to do with it?
Yeah. What do you do? What's your favorite? Yeah, when you eat, what's your favorite form, man?
I just slice it, fry it, and just.
Slice the fry. We call them home fries over here on this side of the pond.
I love a home fry. Love a
You like slice it, you simmer it. You throw some onions in there or something. Like what's your potato looking like?
Yeah. You slice it. You put some paprika on there, and just fry it and find some chicken.
Some chicken. You go.
My favorite potato is chicken. That is a first.
Yo, those are the two. That's why I asked that question. So here in America, the two most heavily consumed food products are potatoes and chicken. But while everybody loves chicken, potato doesn't get the shine because everybody's eating. When's the last time you ate a potato?
It's not a sexy thing, man.
When's the last time you ate a potato?
I can't. Good question. When was the last time?
Yesterday. You had some form of potato yesterday. At some point, it's not excluded. I don't know.
You might not be. Maybe you got different gourds over there. Yeah, I mean, maybe you got the yuccas or something like that.
You've got me. I had some potato about 3 hours ago.
I'm still digesting the last potato I had. Can we just recognize how black this festival and podcast is, that somebody said their favorite form of potato is chicken?
I'm glad we heard it.
Take a moment to recognize the negricity of the fact that his favorite potato is in fact chicken.
Hey,
I would want to drink your beer. If you tell me your favorite form of potato is chicken, we don't have an IPA. We gonna sit down and talk about
it. This motherfucker's making good shit over here.
This dude's making. He knows flavor.
Hey, can we get it cross the pond? Cheers.
Let me get something in my glass.
Yeah, I mean, this is dope. We've never done this before with the podcast.
Never done this.
I mean, so here's the across the pond cheers over there. You know what I mean, with the digi glass. Look at that over there in England. We international, baby.
We even drinking out the old glasses. He got the new everything. And for the listeners, y'all gotta understand how special this is. First of all, before we go, we have to thank you, man, for you were very gracious in your patience and all of that, man. We were getting it kicked off. This is the kickoff for the festival, all digital. You know, we're trying to push the boundaries. Stacey, my man, was very patient. We was vibing back and forth, chilling. I thought he changed locations. You know what I mean? He done went to a hat, no hat, cut the sleeves off. He showed us a chicken on the leash. Like we know this man now.
True. So, I'm about to come sleep on your couch. As soon as this virus is over, I'm coming to sleep on your couch.
For sure. And listen, I'm gonna if you're drinking West Coast, drink from the can. It tastes better.
Oh, word?
That's what I'm going to say.
Oh, word?
He hit us with little words of wisdom.
I'm gonna have to. That's my next thing. I think we got some somewhere sitting around this studio. We got some West Coast. We about to do that. We gonna test that out.
But before we do so, we want people to follow you on your socials to listen to get to see your commentary, drive the conversation forward. So just let the people know how they can connect with you.
You can connect with me at Stacey Ayer, at Stacey Ayer on Twitter, which is STACEY, Ayer, AYEH, or at Rock Leopard Brew on Twitter, or at Rock Leopard Brewing on Instagram and Facebook.
Nice.
All right, Dave. For those who are go ahead.
If you type, if you search for Rock Leopard Brewing, you'll find me.
Googleable.
For sure.
He's the alpha and omega, as he told me before this podcast. The rooter to the tutor, Stacey Ayer. Dave, let the people know who are just on they done pirated the feed. Let them know where they can find us so they can actually support us.
Hey, man, if you're looking for us, if you found us, you can find us again on epicastnetwork.com/partnerspod. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, Google Play, and Spotify under Drinking Partners. And you can find us on IG, Twitter, and Facebook at PartnersPod.
Hey, listen, we want to once again thank our guest Stacey Ayer for coming through. Check him out on the socials, man. Follow him. Very intelligent brother. We appreciate what you're doing out there, man. Keep driving the culture forward. We're going to keep going with this festival because we got so many more hours of programming, man. We just beginning. And just as everything, we just beginning. You know what I'm saying? Our influence on the industry, we just beginning. This festival, we just beginning. So as always, Drinking Partners is the crew. Epicast is the family. Fresh Fest is the move. And we out of here.